it's clear that people don't understand that. They think that we're in the throes of financial ruin. Herriman is the only city in the valley that was able to hold a balanced budget through the last 2 years and keep part of and replenish our rainy day fund. Now, how are we able to do that? Apparently, we're not that fiscally irresponsible. We still delivered your services. We still made sure that you got everything that you expected when you moved here. We made sure that everything that brought you here continued. We maintain your way of life that the community should and your sense of community. There are many things that we do for that. People move here because of parks. I have an article that I should have brought up with me to read to you that was in a Zions Bank magazine that talked about Herriman is the jewel that nobody's ever seen. It just all of a sudden came out. And we went from 0 parks to 24 parks. I think it's now 34 parks, 40 parks, 34, Michelle? 34 parks. And these aren't just Mickey Mouse parks that you go and hang out. These are fully developed parks where people can meet, they can hold reunions, they can hold family parties, they can go and enhance their way of life, and they're throughout the whole community, everywhere. The other thing we do is we make sure that we fund the arts, and we make sure that we fund the things that bring the community together. Michelle was very instrumental in bringing back the homecoming, we used to call it. Now it's Fort Herriman days. But we make sure we fund that because that is where people come together. It's very important that we maintain a sense of community. It sounds like initially that, yeah, let's cut that, because if we do, that's fiscally responsible. That is probably the most irresponsible thing we could do. Had a very wise man once tell me when we were building a park that you will never regret the millions of dollars that you've gone into debt to build this park. And we never, ever have. We paid it off largely because of that park, because that park, Butterfield Park, drew people here. Investing in people, in the community, in the things that we can, in Herriman, in your way of life, and building a sense of community is probably the biggest thing we can do to maintain our small dependence that we already have on one-time money. We're not dependent anymore because we invest in the future. And it's important that you see beyond tomorrow. If you look at the federal government today, they remember today. They can't see past 2012. Thanks.
Those one-time fees, you do need to be fiscally disciplined on what you do with that money, and it shouldn't be something solely relied upon. It's just like being in the private sector where you work for some large company and expect that bonus, and then all of a sudden you're not getting bonuses because the economy's down. That money should be strategically thought out to put towards family-oriented areas, types of structures for Herriman City. We are going to be experiencing tremendous growth in this city over the next 40 years, especially the Kennecott master plan, the Salt Lake County master plan. So those are pretty much how I justify that, and not be solely dependent and rely on those funds. If they happen to go in, if you can use them on something like a family-oriented, like another park. Parks are beautiful here. It's great. This is a great area. This is why we all live here. And I just kind of want to touch base on one of the questions that the mayor's got about the economic development. I want to tell you what I've been campaigning on. Economic development is important to Herriman. Okay. Josh mentioned some businesses. I agree. We need to be strategic and bring businesses that are unique, not just to Herriman, but Utah altogether. And the example that I use is the Bass Pro Shop. Why do I give the example of a Bass Pro Shop? Because if you bring in a Bass Pro Shop, it's unique to Utah. There's not one in Utah. You place that strategically, if we can get it, before Midvale does. place that on the, with the Mountain View corridor coming in, that would be prime, excellent place for that type of business. You're going to pull people from Ogden down to Ridgefield and everybody to shop there. I know people that go down to Vegas just to shop at Bass Pro Shop, and they won't shop online for whatever reason. But with the economic development, they really need, I would be real strategic in what types of businesses we seek. We're not going to get the Walmarts, the Home Depots, and the Shopkos and Targets and stuff like that. Why? Because South Jordan already has them. We don't have enough rooftops to justify it here in Herriman. But this is where I'm trying to build my associations with home builders and the Utah Home Builders Association. I met with them, and they agreed with me that they need to work on more rooftops out in Herriman. And getting those rooftops, and if we can show these these businesses strategically, like, hey, we got this growth coming in, the Mountain View corridor coming in, your next position is probably Midvale. Look at us. Look and see what we have to offer. That would help us lower the tax base on the residential property taxes as well. That's my idea on strategic economic development.
I believe the question was, how can we reduce our dependence on one-time fees? Is that correct? I just want to clarify that and remind everybody that we have only been incorporated for 10 years. That is not very long. Many of you probably don't even have children that are that old. And so it's important to remember that when we incorporated, basically all we had was one-time fees. Impact fees were a tool that helped us build the community that you live in today, and I'm grateful that we've had that opportunity to be able to charge those at the development phase. It's also important to note that those impact fees have to be spent for capital improvements. That means that they cannot be used for ongoing maintenance and operations of those things that you build, whether they are roads or parks or water systems or any of those kinds of things. So we recognized, as Jerry said, that we needed to start looking at other opportunities to reduce our dependency on those. And fortunately, our mayor was able to woo Smith's into our city, which was from the day it opened and continues to be the highest grossing Smith's grocery store in the valley. I think that's huge. That has given us a good sales tax base for our city, which has, again, now reduced our dependency on those one-time fees. The important thing about those one-time fees is they are met with resistance with developers, but we really feel that those need to be collected at the time of the development because they are the ones that build the community, and we want it to be a place where you want to be. If it comes to the point where we can't collect those anymore or for whatever reason, then simply what that means is then we would have to stop building parks. We would have to stop building roads on the impact fee. We would have to stop building water systems on the impact fee, and we'd have to find another revenue source. That could come from your property tax. Nobody likes their property taxes increased. Nobody likes the additional fees that we have to do for public safety. But in order to provide all of the opportunities that you have here in Herriman, we have to weigh what works for us, for our city, and what helps provide you the way of life that you have come accustomed to and that you moved here for, and that's what we've tried to do. So we will continue to try to do what we've done here. With those impact fees, we have retired debt. I think Jerry talked about that really quickly. We took out a $2 million bond on the W&M Butterfield Park. It had a 20-year call. We retired that in, I believe, 4 years. Is that correct? 2 years. And then we also took a bond out on the community center, which was a $4 million bond, and we retired that 4 years, which was a 20-year call. We've tried to be really fiscally responsible with your dollars, and we will continue to do so. Thank you.